Hello guys, today I'm going to talk about UProperty and UFunction. UProperty is a macro for variables. Let's make a private section and let's say we have a float that represents our health amount. Now to add this variable in the editor we have to add a macro which is UProperty, and we had to add a specifier which is edit anywhere. Now, with this specifier, we can edit this variable in the editor. Let's compile our code by Ctrl Alt and F11. Let's create a blueprint actor for this class. I'm going to call this BP first actor. Now, as you can see, here's our health amount. And now let's say that our health amount is 100. Now, if you want, you can make this variable. Let's initialize this health amount to 100. And let's say you want this variable to be visible in the editor. To make that possible, we write visible anywhere. Now with this variable only is going to be visible and is not going to be editable in the editor. As you can see, we cannot edit this variable. Now, there are a few other specifiers like category. If you want, you can categorize your variables. Let's say this is category of health. And now this variable is going to be in the category which is going to be health. As you can see, our category changed. Now let's say that you want to use this variable in the blueprint. To do that, we add a specifier which is like this: blueprint read write. And now because this variable is private, we cannot directly use this variable in the blueprint. For that, there is another specifier which goes like this: meta equals allow private access, and set this variable to true. Now let's recompile our code. Now here in our blueprint class, let's get our get health amount and let's print this. As you can see, our health amount is printed on the screen. Let's say that you want to set this amount. We just type set health amount, and now let's say 200, and let's print this value. Now our health value is going to be 200, as you can see. Function is a macro for functions. Let's say that we have a function that prints our health amount, and this function's name is going to be print health amount. Now, to call this function in blueprints, first this function has to be public and has to have the ufunction macro, also has to have the blueprint callable specifier. Let's create definition. And here we are going to print our health amount. Our health amount is going to print it in this section in output log. To do that, we type UE underline log. Here we specify the log temp, which is going to be basically log temp. Then our verbosity is going to be log, or we can make warning. The difference is when we write log, our debug is going to be white, and when we write warning, our debug is going to be yellow, which is more easier to see. And here we declare our variable. Not we declare, but we use we debug the variable. We use the text format, and here percentage, because our health amount is float, we are going to use f, and then here we add our variable, which is health amount. Now let's call this function in blueprint. In begin play, let's call our function, which is print health amount. Just ignore these red lines, and as you can see, our health amount is printed. Now let's talk about a specifier, which is blueprint implementable event. Now this function is going to be implemented in the blueprints, but because this function is blueprint implementable event, this function cannot have a body, but another function can call this function. Let's call this function a begin play, print health amount, and with this specifier you will be able to edit this function in blueprints. Now let's call print health amount. As you can see, our function is like a custom event. Here we can, let's say we can get our health amount, and let's increase our health amount by 20, and let's print this amount. Now our health amount is going to be 120, as you can see right here up in the left corner. Let's say that you want that this function has its own body in C++ file, and you want that this function could overridden by blueprints. To do that, this function has to have a specifier, which is blueprint native event. And let's create a definition, void actors class, which is my first actor, and our function name, which is print health amount. When we have a native event function, its definition has to have a specific suffix, which is underline implementation. And here I'm going to add 100 to our health amount, plus equals 100.f, and I'm going to delete this from begin play because I don't want to call this function in C++ begin play. Now, and also let's add blueprint callable because I want to call this function in blueprints. Let's recompile. And here, let's override our print health amount. To override, we have to call the add event category print health amount. Now, let's add call to parent function, where if it didn't add this node parent print health amount, this code would be ignored. And because we want that code, we use this node parent print health amount, and here let's print our health amount. Print string, get our health amount and put it to in the string. And in begin play, our print health amount, it's already called. As you can see, our health amount now is 200. I want to add another thing in category. A category can have a subcategory, let's say by adding this line. I don't know what it is called, and our subcategory name is going to be, let's say, sub health. And as you can see, we have a parent category and a subcategory where our health amount is. Now there's another ufunction specifier, which is blueprint pure. Blueprint pure. With blueprint pure, the function has to have a return. I'm going to return our health amount, and here I'm going to say get health amount, and now here instead of void is going to be float, and I'm going to return health amount. Let's delete this too, and add our get health amount. Now when this is not available, let's delete this. Get health amount. As you can see, our function is going not to have this execute thing where we can directly print our health amount, not duration but in string. As you can see, we printed the health amount. Thank you for listening, guys. See you in the next video.